Damn. Not yet. I need a freaking valve cover before it looks nice, but... What's up, guys? It's Connor, back with another video. I'm making part 2 of the exhaust. Basically, I went to my family friend's house, and he is very mechanically inclined, a lot more than I am, and he also has a bunch more tools than I do, so that helped a lot. But basically, I learned I would have not been able to do that by myself. So unless you guys are really good and you have all the tools in the world, I don't know, I'd probably take it to a shop to finish the rest of it. So basically, I'll run you guys through the steps because I didn't want to be rude and like film in front of them. But I will basically just take you through the steps of the second part of doing it after you install the exhaust itself. Basically, once you have the exhaust on, that's pretty much all you need to do underneath the car in terms of like being underneath the car. There's a few undercarriage panels that you have to take off, but that's really easy. That's just so you can route the vacuum line underneath that, so it's not like hanging down or anything. Obviously that would be bad. And then I'll show you here. Vacuum line comes from down there, kind of goes by the axles and everything, and then just there's a little mounting point back there that you can screw the vacuum pump or solenoid onto. So then you want to connect one side into it, and then the other side just needs to go to a vacuum source in the car. And basically we looked at a bunch of diagrams and eventually figured out that the manifold vacuum is probably intake. So there's basically this vacuum line back here. Yeah, basically that vacuum line that's coming out of the manifold. We just traced it from down here and followed it up here and just kind of hide it a little bit and make it less obvious. We cut the vacuum hose right there. That you need this part right here. It's called a manifold vacuum adapter or something like that on ECS, and that you need that before you start this because otherwise this does not come in the kit, so you need to buy that separately, which I did not realize. So that's why it took like a few weeks longer or like a week longer for me to do it, because I need to get that part. And then basically there's also a controller right there in the vacuum line, and then so basically this whole line goes into that. So all of that's not that too difficult. The main issue for us was trying to make sure that we split the right cable, or not cable but hose, because obviously if you cut the wrong hose then you're kind of screwed. But yeah, it was really hard to find vacuum diagram. I mean, this got replaced in the accident that I had, so I don't think it has a vacuum diagram on it, but I think most cars have vacuum diagrams on it, so that's why it was hard to find anywhere online. And then I think the hardest part was installing the switch, which was we had to take that connector and basically have to take this whole battery off, which you can do. It's pretty simple. You just take this off, take the battery out, and then there's just some bolts. There's one right there, there's one right there, and then there's also one over there underneath the battery. Then once you take that out, it might be a little bit harder if you have a OEM air filter on it, because this is pretty easy to take off. Because you basically need to take this whole mounting thing off, because basically the part that goes into the firewall is literally right behind the battery and the bracket here. So yeah, you need to basically go through there, and then we just took like a coat hanger and taped the wire to it, and pretty much, if you guys can see, it's pretty much in the middle of the screen, but right there is the entry point in the firewall, and there's going to be some tape on it, and you're going to have to cut that. Basically, through there's a rubber grommet, and then what we did was, like I said before, was we just took a coat hanger and fold, or just a wire that's strong enough to push through, and then we taped the wire to it, and then pushed the coat hanger through, and then grabbed the coat hanger from the other side and pulled the wire through, and then so that was a little bit difficult, but when taped correctly, it won't get stuck in there, which happened the first time, but then the second time we taped it well enough so it went through. Then once you come through here, you're going to have to take this panel off here. So there's a few screws that you're going to want to take off. I'm sure I'm going to miss a few, but there's obviously this one, there's one here, and there's one right here. I think there's one more, but however, you're going to have to take that off. Oh, it looks like I'm missing a screw or something. That doesn't really matter. And then you're going to route, you can see the cable right here, and then you want to route that cable through underneath here. And if you guys don't know how to take the shifter off, I'll explain this later, but if you don't know how to take the shifter off, there's an install video I have already explaining how to take this off, but basically you just kind of pull up on this and then it'll just pop out. You can also, and then once you do there, get to that step, there's a screw here and a screw here that hold this like whole thing in place, and you can actually just take that out. And then once you get to there, the distance between here and where the wire goes in is really minimal, so you can literally just reach and grab the wire, and then once it gets to there, you can plug it into your switch. However, the switch is like a universal switch, so unless you get the Apex switch, which is like $100 extra, then it will not fit. I'm planning on possibly switching later. I don't know how different the switch is, but after we install this switch, the switch also needs power, and there's a 12-volt cigarette lighter right here, and what we had to end up doing was splicing the wires here, so you can see the hot wire, or no, it wasn't that one. Yeah, no, it was that one. So we had to end up, so these wires right here go to power the switch. I think it's for the light on here. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's for the light. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's also for the vacuum solenoid, but either way, it needs power for the switch. And so what we ended up doing was we just soldered the wires to this, and unless you are really good at soldering or whatever, it's pretty difficult. I mean, the process that I just explained makes it seem easier than it really was. I can't stress this enough that if you're not good at all, or you're just beginning to go into the world of like modding cars and that sort of thing, I don't think this is something that you should do unless you have a mentor or someone that's really good at it to help you through it. Because again, I wouldn't have had all the tools needed to finish this project on my own, and that in itself took around another 6 to 7 hours, and that was with the help of 2 other people that were really good at what they were doing, and they knew what they're doing. So yeah, that's my that's the part 2. I'm sorry if that was pretty lengthy, and I'm sorry that I couldn't actually like show you what the process. However, at least, you know, you can kind of see what it should look like on a Mk5 Jetta 2.5 liter engine. So yeah, basically the routing of the lines fairly simple. If you guys are having trouble finding where the vacuum lines are, it's this hose back here. I ended up just watching like some videos on how to take the intake itself off, and in doing that they explained that that was the vacuum hose, so it's the one that goes into the side of the intake. And I just did it further up just so it looked a little cleaner. So the only thing that looks out of place is the blue line. And then, yeah, for sure the hardest part is installing the switch. Yeah, so basically the instructions that they provided online for this kit is pretty vague. Again, if you guys have any questions, just be sure to leave them in the comment section below, and hopefully I can answer them for you. If you like during the process of doing it yourself. But yeah, for sure, if you guys are not mechanically inclined, make sure that you have someone that knows what they're doing, or take it to a shop to finish the installation, because it was definitely out of my skill set. You know what? I'll give you guys a little startup. I think you'll like it. So yeah, there's the difference between the stock and the aftermarket cutout. It definitely sounds better when you're going, because when you're not moving, there's a rev limiter at 4,000, and it like cuts it off, so it can't really rev that much. But once you actually start moving, I think maybe above like a few miles an hour, then it removes that rev limiter. It's almost like factory two-step. No, it's not factory two-step. It's like factory launch control. But I really have been enjoying this. If I was going to do it again, I would definitely do it with someone who knows what they're doing. I would probably get the switch. I don't really mind it too much. I'm not really going for looks. I'll probably install it later down the road. However, right now it's just not really a priority. I mean, it works, and you know, it's fun to use. So I also want to thank everyone who watched the previous video. It's actually doing pretty well. I mainly want to make the video because I myself didn't know how to do it, because I didn't see any other videos online how to do it specifically for this vehicle, and just in general. ECS Tuning didn't really do they were just showcasing product. They never really showed you how to install it. So I really just want to make a informational video for all of you guys that weren't sure how to go about it and wanted to find out more about the process before you actually made a purchase. I definitely think it's worth it once it's installed. It's amazing, and you guys will see that in another video. Probably in the next video you'll see how good it sounds. I mean, I'm sure you guys kind of heard a little bit of it in the previous in the teaser, but yeah, it's definitely worth it. It's just whether you guys think it's worth the hardship of installation. Anyways, guys, I think that'll do it for this video. There'll definitely be more videos to come, so be on the lookout for that, because I think I have some pretty good videos coming up. So be sure to stay tuned for that, and hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace. At that wheel gap. Look at that wheel gap. It's literally the size of my hand. I mean, am I trying to imply something? I don't know. You guys might have to stay tuned for that.